suspect!
Coming to get you, Bobber.
Walter's got Nards!
Hi guys, my name's Barry and welcome back to the channel. I've had to think long and hard about this new Scream ranking that I'm going to be doing today. Obviously it's going to include the new Scream movie. And I was toying around where I was going to put this on my list, as well as toying around with the movies that came before it, because I've had a Scream ranking all the time and it does change quite a lot. But today's video is going to cement what I think just now. Now in a year's time, 2 years time, that could obviously change, but this is a list that I've got just now and I'm sticking with this list at the moment. And at number 5 is Scream 3. Now because this is last on the list doesn't mean I hated this movie. This is a rare franchise where I liked all the movies. I don't love all the movies, I like all the movies, and I could watch all the movies in this franchise over and over again. That's how much I enjoy them all. So Scream 3 is last, but it doesn't mean I hate the movie. The only reason it is last is because it doesn't have any teenagers in the movie. It doesn't have that high school, college setting that I love about these Scream movies. It felt too Hollywood for me. It felt too meta within the Hollywood environment for me as well. So it's the only negatives that I do have for this movie. Yes, the script is quite choppy when it comes to who the killer was supposed to be, or who the killers were supposed to be as well. I know that with the rewrites that didn't make the movie any better, but overall I like the movie, but it is unfortunately dead last. And then number 4 is Scream 4. And again, this is one I really enjoy. I like it a lot more than Scream 3. So Scream 3 is dead last, and I mean dead last on the list. But Scream 4 is a really good sequel. Now this is the one that it came out 11 years after Scream 3, so you would think maybe they would all be rusty, but they weren't. Apart from Neve Campbell, who I think she was quite wooden in most of the Scream movies. Courtney Cox and David Arquette were fantastic in this, especially Courtney Cox. I also like that they go back to that high school setting. I like that they went back to Woodsboro as well. Things that were missing from Scream 3, they brought back for Scream 4. The script itself was a little bit tighter as well. I was disappointed with the killers in this movie because I don't think the killers were realistic enough. But even though I don't think they were realistic, I think that Jill played a fantastic killer when she was revealed to be, for me, because it almost scraped second spot, but it just went into third spot. I think again it's another refreshing change for the franchise, but there is things in it that, you know, similar to Scream 4, I was a little bit disappointed in the killer reveal, or one of the killers especially. Obviously I'm disappointed in some things that happened in the movie, but overall was pleasantly surprised. This movie also came out 11 years after its predecessor. Dewey especially was absolutely amazing. I think that I did mention a few times that Neve Campbell was quite wooden in some of the sequels. I think even though she didn't have a lot of screen time in this one, I think she was the best she's been since the original. So everyone upped their game, whether they're the legacy characters or whether they're the new characters, because it is hard to bring in new characters and mesh them in with the legacy characters and still make it relevant, but as well as giving us something for the legacy fans, I would call them as well. I would class myself as one of the older legacy fans. So I think whether you're just coming into the franchise or whether you've been with the franchise for years, I think this movie has something for everyone. And then number 2 is Scream 2. Now, like I said, Scream from 2022 was almost just second spot, but I think what tips Scream 2 in second spot is because I have more love for that. So I think the nostalgia factor comes into it for me. And again, this is a personal list, so please don't take it personally or seriously, but the nostalgia factor just pips Scream 2 to second spot. It has everything that I wanted in a sequel. Now it is going to be hard to outdo the original, and nothing is able to outdo the original, but Scream 2 came very close to that. And at times when I first seen Scream 2 back in the late 90s, it was my favourite Scream movie. But after rewatching both of the movies over and over and over again as a teenager, as an adult, I just think that Scream 2, although it's not a perfect movie, is very, very close. And at number 1 is of course the original from 1996. This movie is almost perfect, and in fact it probably is a perfect horror movie. I'll only give a few movies, even horror movies, a 5-star rating. Halloween from 1978 being one of them, and Scream being another one of those 5-star horror movies that has everything that I want in a horror movie. It's probably the most rewatchable horror movie of all time for me as well, and in fact this is probably the movie that I've watched the most in my entire life. I know every line of this movie. It's got the nostalgia factor for me, but not only is it nostalgic, anyone who watches this movie for the first time today would probably put it in their top 10 horror movies of all time. That's how effective this movie is. It breaks a lot of barriers. It brings back the slasher genre, the whodunit genre. Everything about this movie is absolutely iconic. This movie is an absolute masterpiece. So that is my new ranking for the Scream movies, and I'm not going to lie, it was very hard to do. I thought it would be easy, but after rewatching all the movies and then going into watching Scream, the new Scream last week, I thought to myself, do you know, this is a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. Now the list might be similar to what it was before, but make no mistake, it was still hard to re-rank these movies. That's how close most of them were. Yes, Scream 3 is dead last. That's the only one I knew was always going to be last, but the other 4, they could be mixed around now and again. That's how close it was. Anyway guys, what do you think of the list? Were you surprised? Did you see it coming? As always guys, leave your list down below as well. Let me know what your favourite Scream movie is. If you don't want to list all 5, let me know what your best one is and where the new one ranks on your list. And as always, I'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.